I want you to picture something for a second. Think back to the last family barbecue, birthday party, or holiday gathering you went to. Picture everyone in the room. Your parents, cousins, siblings, aunts, uncles, and friends. Now ask yourself a few honest questions. If every paycheck stopped tomorrow, how many of those people could keep their lives together for more than a month or two? How many have money invested for the future instead of just sitting in a checking account? How many own a home or other assets? How many have a financial plan that's about building wealth instead of simply making it to the next payday? If those questions make you a little uncomfortable, that's exactly the point, because today we're breaking down the different levels of black wealth in America, where millions of families are today, where others are headed, and what it actually takes to move from one level to the next. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly where you stand financially and what your next move should be. Let's get started. Level 1 is survival. You're living paycheck to paycheck. The moment your paycheck hits your bank account, it's already gone. Rent or mortgage, your car payment, your phone bill, utilities, insurance, groceries, and whatever is left is just enough to get you through until payday comes around again. At this level, your net worth is either zero or negative. If you totaled everything you own, your car, your furniture, your savings, whatever is in your bank accounts, and then subtracted everything you owe, including student loans, credit card balances, medical debt, and personal loans, you'd end up with nothing or less than nothing. On paper, you're not building wealth, you're just trying to stay afloat. At level 1, even a $400 emergency can throw your entire life off track. Your transmission fails. An unexpected medical bill shows up. Your air conditioner dies in the middle of summer. Suddenly, you're borrowing money from relatives, putting more debt on a credit card, or simply going without. And the reality is that millions of black families are living exactly like this today. Maybe that's your current situation. Maybe it's where you were just a few years ago. Maybe it's where your parents were at your age. The mission at level 1 is incredibly simple. Stop the financial bleeding. This isn't the stage for chasing investments or buying rental properties. Your first priority is building a $1,000 emergency fund. Put it in a separate savings account and don't touch it unless it's a true emergency. That one habit creates the foundation for everything that comes next. That's what moves you into level 2. Level 2 is where things become deceptive because, from the outside, life can actually look pretty successful. I call this level the illusion. You have income, but you haven't built assets. Maybe you're earning $55,000, $65,000, or even $75,000 a year. On paper, you're doing well. But somehow, every dollar seems to disappear before the next paycheck arrives. Why? Because you've been sold the idea that looking successful is the same thing as becoming wealthy. It's the $700 monthly car payment, the luxury apartment that stretches your budget, the designer sneakers, the expensive vacations charged to a credit card with an interest rate over 20%. And honestly, it's easy to understand why. When you grow up without much, there's a powerful desire to prove you've made it. You want people to see that you're doing better, that you've escaped the struggle, that you've become successful. There's nothing wrong with wanting a better life. But here's the hard truth. You can earn $75,000 a year and still have a net worth of zero. Because wealth isn't determined by what you earn. It's determined by what you keep and what you own. The typical black household in America earns tens of thousands of dollars every year. Yet the amount of wealth many families have accumulated over a lifetime remains surprisingly small. That's the difference between income and wealth. One pays the bills, the other creates freedom. At level 2, your assignment is straightforward. Calculate your real net worth. Sit down tonight with a notebook or spreadsheet. List everything you own that's worth money. Then list every debt you owe. Subtract your liabilities from your assets. That final number tells you the truth about your finances. Not your paycheck, not your job title, not your social media posts. The moment you know your real net worth is the moment you stop pretending and start making progress. Level 3 is where real change begins. I call it stability. And reaching this point isn't easy. especially if no one around you has ever shown you what financial stability looks like. By now, you've built a real emergency fund. Not just $1,000, but enough to cover 3 to 6 months of living expenses in a high-yield savings account. If you lose your job tomorrow, you're not immediately in crisis. You have time to figure out your next move. You've also started eliminating high-interest debt. Credit cards charging more than 20% interest. Personal loans with double-digit rates. These debts quietly destroy wealth because every dollar you pay in interest is a dollar that never gets the chance to grow and compound for your future. Eliminating a credit card charging 22%. Interest is the financial equivalent of earning a guaranteed 22% return on your money. There aren't many investments in the world that can promise that kind of return with zero market risk. Before chasing bigger gains, eliminate the debt that's quietly taking money away from your future. At level 3, you're also contributing to your 401k, at least enough to receive your employer's full matching contribution. This is something too many people overlook. If your employer offers a match and you're not taking advantage of it, you're turning down free money. Depending on the plan, that's an immediate return of 50% or even 100% on every dollar you contribute. Opportunities like that are incredibly rare, and they're one of the easiest ways to accelerate wealth building. This is also the stage where home ownership becomes a serious financial goal. Black home ownership still trails far behind white home ownership in America, and that gap didn't happen by chance. Decades of redlining, discriminatory lending practices, and unequal access to opportunity played a major role in creating it. But today, owning a home remains one of the strongest wealth-building tools available. Every mortgage payment increases your ownership through equity. Instead of sending rent to a landlord forever, you're gradually building an asset that can appreciate in value, provide financial security, and eventually be passed on to future generations. Level 3 isn't glamorous. It doesn't feel exciting. There aren't dramatic overnight transformations, but this is where the real foundation gets built. And without a strong foundation, everything above it eventually falls apart. Level 4 is where your financial life starts to look completely different. I call this stage building wealth. It's also where many Americans never make it. At this level, your net worth has likely grown somewhere between $100,000 and $500,000. You own a home with meaningful equity. Your retirement accounts have reached the point where they're growing steadily. You may have started a small business, invested in a rental property, or created another source of income. For the first time, your money is beginning to work as hard as you do. This is also the point where compound growth becomes impossible to ignore. Early in your investing journey, progress feels slow. You invest a couple $100 each month, and after a year, your account has grown a little. Most of the balance came from your own contributions, not investment gains. But once your investments reach 6 figures, everything changes. And 6% annual return on a $100,000 portfolio produces roughly $8,000 in growth over a year without you adding another dollar. That's about $670 a month, generated simply because your investments continue growing. Your money is finally creating more money. At level 4, you're also taking full advantage of tax-advantaged accounts. You're contributing to a Roth IRA so your investments can grow tax-free for decades. You're working toward maximizing your 401k. If you're eligible for a health savings account, you're using one because it offers one of the most powerful tax advantages available for long-term wealth building. You also stop relying on a single paycheck. Maybe you've built a profitable side business. Maybe rental income has started coming in. Maybe dividends or other investments are producing consistent cash flow. Either way, you're no longer depending on one employer for your entire financial future. For Black Americans especially, that matters. History has shown us that jobs can disappear unexpectedly. Industries change. Companies downsize. Economic downturns happen. Multiple income streams don't just create wealth, they create resilience. The biggest challenge at level 4 is avoiding lifestyle inflation. Every raise feels like permission to spend more. A nicer vehicle, a bigger house, more more expensive vacations. That's the mistake that pulls people backward. Every time your income increases, your first thought should be investing more, not upgrading your lifestyle. Level 5 is where you've built cultural wealth. It's a level we don't talk about nearly enough. Here, your net worth ranges from roughly $500,000 to $2 million. Only a small percentage of Black households in America have reached a net worth above $1 million. That number is still far below what we see among white households, and it reflects the persistent wealth gap that continues to shape financial opportunities across generations. But something fundamental changes once you reach this level. Your investments begin paying for your life. Income from index funds, dividend stocks, rental properties, and other assets starts covering your everyday expenses. You're no longer forced to exchange every hour of your time for a paycheck. Think about what that kind of freedom really means. You can leave a job that no longer serves you. You can care for aging parents without destroying your finances. You can survive layoffs, recessions, or unexpected health problems without immediately falling into crisis. At level 5, your spending habits change too. Instead of buying things that lose value, you focus on buying assets that continue producing income. Instead of financing a more expensive luxury vehicle, you might purchase another investment property. Instead of spending a tax refund, you invest it. And perhaps most importantly, you begin to understand a principle that separates wealthy people from everyone else. Wealth isn't measured by what you own. It's measured by what continues producing income long after you've stopped working for it. A $1 million investment portfolio earning an average annual return of 8% can generate roughly $80,000 in growth each year without requiring you to clock in for another shift. That's the power of assets working on your behalf. An $80,000 annual return can pay for your housing, groceries, utilities, insurance, and much of your everyday life without forcing you to sell the investments that produced it. The principal stays invested. Your assets keep growing. Your money continues working, whether you're at work, spending time with family, or sleeping. That's what financial independence begins to look like. And I want you to know something. Reaching level 5 isn't reserved for a lucky few. It's possible. It doesn't happen overnight, and it doesn't happen by accident. It takes years of consistent investing, disciplined spending, and making smart financial decisions over and over again. But it can be done, and our community needs far more people who reach this stage, because every family that does creates opportunities for the generations that follow. Then there's level 6. The highest level. I call it legacy. And let me be clear about something. Legacy has nothing to do with showing off. It's not about appearing on magazine covers. It's not about owning a private jet, a mega mansion, or living a celebrity lifestyle. Legacy is something far more meaningful. It's building wealth that continues creating opportunities long after you're gone. At this level, your net worth has grown beyond $2 million. But more importantly, your financial life has been designed to outlive you. You have a comprehensive estate plan. You've established trusts where appropriate. Your life insurance is structured to help transfer wealth efficiently. You own businesses with lasting value. You own real estate your children and grandchildren can inherit. Your investment portfolio isn't just compounding for your retirement anymore. It's compounding for future generations. When you reach level 6, you're no longer changing only your own life. You're changing the starting point for everyone who comes after you. Your children don't begin adulthood struggling to survive. They begin with stability. Instead of starting at level 1, they may begin at level 3 or even level 4. Your grandchildren inherit assets instead of debt. Instead of breaking the cycle for a single generation, you've changed the direction of your entire family tree. Take a moment and imagine how different your own life might have been if your grandparents had reached this level. Imagine inheriting a paid-off home, a well-funded investment account, a successful family business. How much further ahead would you have been before you earned your very first paycheck? That's the future you're working toward, not just for yourself, for your children, for your grandchildren, for family members you'll never even meet. You're creating a future where they begin the race with opportunities instead of obstacles. That's what true generational wealth looks like. People like Robert F. Smith Demonstrate what level 6 can become at its highest expression. After building extraordinary wealth, he used it to change the lives of hundreds of others, including paying off the student loan debt of an entire graduating class. That's the real power of legacy. It's not just about accumulating wealth. It's about using that wealth to create opportunities that continue multiplying long after you're gone.